What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Join Dota League Season 3. It is playoff time, and these two teams are going to go at it in a best of 3. And then, whoever wins is going to continue moving on, and whoever loses, unfortunately, is going to have to just be satisfied with where they are. Here on HeflaTV 1, we're going to be giving you the games. I'm Mike Loris, one of your casters, and I'm joined by Mr. Blackadder.
Good evening and afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So we are going straight into the game, and we've clearly fallen into some kind of twilight zone, Mike. I mean, we started early.
Yeah,
it's
wrong. Weird.
Feels really wrong, but
maybe all of our clocks are wrong, and we actually started late.
That's more likely. I'll believe that one, but nonetheless, we've got Sqreen Squad up against xGame KZ.
Yeah, I mean, definitely know a little bit more about xGame. They are running with someone who I don't recognize. I don't really know who that yellow player is, but hey, that's going to be just fine, I'm sure. They're a pretty solid enough team, and Sqreen Squad as well. I like Sqreen Squad's drafts. They like to run crazy stuff.
Oh yeah, I've got a very, very fond memory of Sqreen Squad. They had a game between them and He United that myself and Grandis were casting that involved Aghanim, Scepter, Skywrath May dropping 5 ion cannons on the head of a Night Stalker and killing it in half a second. The Night Stalker had 4.5k HP.
That sounds amazing, mostly because there was a Night Stalker in the game, which they also like to run, by the way. I have seen some of their drafts where they pull that out, so they're not afraid to go past the metagame and try to pick up whatever seems right for the moment. But for now, it's going to be nice and vanilla. Death Prophet to open up, and yeah, I just rechecked it, guys. The winner of this, I believe, goes up against Power Rangers in the finals at a later date. I have no idea when that is.
Oh, that's going to be one hell of a match. Either of these teams versus Power Rangers, that will be something special. And for the record, the yellow player, you didn't know who it was, it's Starcat.
Oh, okay. I know who it is then.
Yeah. It's a strong team, xGame. I thoroughly enjoy watching these guys. I've been casting them a fair amount myself lately. And, well, from where we go Centaur, Batrider. They're going for classic early aggression.
Yeah, it's pretty much you can't get any more aggressive with this outside of picking up some really wonky heroes. Centaur and Batrider both have a ton of initiation power, and for the most part, it seems like this game, the initiation is going to be handled by xGame. They're going to be deciding when and where all the fights take place. That being said, Sqreen Squad have the Tide Hunters, so if things get really messy, then they always have that nice counter initiation tool with the Ravage. And since Batrider's picked up so early, Vengeful Spirit still in the pool.
Very much true, and there is something I do like from the draft at these two teams so far. Sure, the Tinker wasn't banned out, but Razor's not here, nor is the Void. This makes it so much more refreshing, and we have the new patch on the horizon. It's so close to having that Tinker nerf.
Oh yeah, and all these heroes. Oh, I mean, like Death Prophet, a slight nerf in 20 seconds, but I think it's actually pretty huge. Don't know if she's always going to be occupying this first pick spot anymore, but I don't know. I just hope that the patch comes after the finals, just so that they don't have to play within a new patch, because that could be very jarring.
I have a feeling that this is my gut feeling alone, mind you. I don't know anything extra, believe it or not. My gut feeling says we will see it Friday night or Saturday night for the sole purpose of we've got I-League going on right now, and that's a live LAN, I believe, coming out of China, so
all right,
I highly doubt we'll see a patch it during the middle of a LAN like that.
You heard it here first, guys. Blackadder confirmed patch for Friday.
Hey. Gut feeling only.
Yeah, okay, Ice Frog, whatever you say. But second ban phase, Tusk is actually going to be banned out from xGame, or by xGame. Ordinarily, you would never ever see this hero banned out ever, but Sqreen Squad, they do like to run the Tusk quite a bit. Skywrath Mage Viper, a little bit more standard bans from the Sqreen Squad. Both sides going to be looking for supports, and well, Sqreen Squad definitely going to be aiming for a Vengeful Spirit, but it's going to be the Shadow Demon instead that xGame decided to ban out.
Well, removing the Shadow Demon, they pick up a Naga. This has the potential for being a very momentum-breaking pick. I mean, you have a Centaur or a Batrider who can really initiate, but when that Tide comes in with the Ravage, immediate Song of the Siren breaks everything. It's the worst nightmare for us casters, but it's what's necessary out of xGame.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to have both Batrider and Naga Siren on the same team. It's like you could pull them in and then sleep everyone else, but you generally want to just be focusing that one target, and the timing of those skills usually doesn't work well together, but if you work them separately, then it should be just fine. I mean, it's most likely, I want to say, going to be a support Siren at this point, but it could be a little bit awkward if they do it either way. I'm not too convinced on the Naga Siren pick just yet, but I'm sure they'll have two more picks to sort of redeem everything else. It's a powerful enough hero, and the Song of the Siren is just enough control so that xGame are going to be, as I said, calling all the shots.
Well, they could be calling all the shots, but nonetheless, there's still plenty of things Sqreen Squad can do here. I mean, the Naga, we all know it can break momentum, but what form is this Naga going to take? Is this going to be a mid lane Naga, or is it going to be a core Naga, or is it going to be a support Naga? What's your thought on that?
Well, I mean, right now the other two potential cores, Batrider and Centaur. Batrider mid is most likely going to be the case. I want to say that Naga Siren's either going to be played as support or safe lane carry. Putting her on a solo lane with Batrider and Centaur also on your team seems a little bit iffy, and well, Sqreen Squad, they are going to go for the Vengeful Spirit as predicted.
The Vengeful Spirit's there to basically stop the Batrider's initiation. That's why the Shadow Demon was banned. We all know how powerful the Shadow Demon is versus a Batrider. The VS fills much the same spot, and we do get the Rubik now for xGame KZ, so they're going to be looking to steal the Ravage, steal the Exorcism, and just do some work with the potential stolen spells.
Yeah, those are some fantastic skills to steal. Ravage and Death Prophet's Exorcism are two of the best, and, well, I mean, they're sometimes difficult to steal, especially that Ravage. You have to play your distances very well, and or have a Blink Dagger, Force Staff, something like that. Ooh, Sqreen Squad, though. They're going to pick up the Undying. I think they recognize the fact that xGame, they're going to be relatively damage light within this game, and they're going to try to punish that by going very heavy in the early game.
Very true, and the Undying, this makes me think of something I've seen from Sqreen Squad. This could be a 5th pick Night Stalker, considering I've seen the Night Stalker ran in the safe lane as the farming hero for Sqreen Squad before. Sure, it's a very single target oriented damage hero with no AoE, but what a Night Stalker can bring to the table here, the ability to destroy the Rubik, silence the Naga for 8 seconds. I mean, it doesn't feel wrong to think a Night Stalker could be a potential pick here.
And xGame, they aren't on the same wavelength as you. I mean, they're banning out the Pugna, which is ordinarily, I would say, another equally potent hero in a different regard, however. So Sqreen Squad could just, come out from the sidelines and pull out the Night Stalker, and it would be devastating. Ganking a Centaur with the Night Stalker is going to be always very difficult, with the Stampede as well. Being able to keep all of the xGame heroes relatively safe versus the Night Stalker is going to be annoying, but I think it's still potent enough versus the Rubik, Naga, Batrider. Night Stalker could just tear them to shreds.
And then you have the physical damage of the Exorcism to throw on top of that, and then Ravage. It's a lot of potential control, and a single target nuker like Night Stalker, considering the silence potential, could work very well here. But how do xGame go against this? I mean, they've got their 5th pick ready to go. They've got their Naga, which I'm leaning to think this is a support Naga at this point, considering Naga Rubik is actually pretty damn decent.
Yeah, it's a lot of lockdown within that lane, especially in Snare, which does a pretty good amount of disabling. However, there's still damage light between these two supports. Like, there's no Skywrath or Earthshaker to really provide the heavy. Rubik's Fade Bolt is okay, but 280 damage at max level is not exactly impressive. Though it does bounce, it's usually the single target that you have to really go for. And when you compare that to the Undying Vengeful Spirit, who are just going to be dishing damage 24/7, xGame, they're going to have to play this a little bit defensively until their Batrider gets the Blink Dagger, until the Centaur gets the Blink Dagger. Then they could really make things happen.
Well, I think the best way to look at this is Sqreen Squad come in with a hammer, whereas xGame come in with a scalpel. They'll come in and they will pick off what they can with the Batrider, and then retreat, fall back, use a song to escape, and it's going to be a Venomancer. So, oh, hold on a second. This is slightly unusual from xGame. I mean, the Venomancer sure is common, but the Venomancer usually brings a lot of push power, and 9 times out of 10 lately is a core hero. So, are we saying a double jungle Rubik Bat, core Naga mid Veno, or mid Naga core Veno?
I have no idea. This Venomancer, kind of a surprising pick, I would say. It's still a perfectly capable support hero, along with Rubik, and they could babysit the Naga Siren pretty decently and just try to take this into the late game. It's not the worst pick in the world, but yeah, I'm not entirely convinced. It feels like they just picked him up for the hell of it. His pushing power is not really going to be entirely relevant. I mean, obviously it's going to always put a little bit of chip damage onto the towers and stuff like that, but really they're not going to be pushing a whole lot. It seems like they're just going to be protecting Naga Siren's farm, although they could really do some wonky stuff with their lanes.
Indeed, and I'm hesitant with xGame's lineup, to be honest, and we'll get a last pick Morphling out of Sqreen Squad, which again does fill a decent role here, being able to come in, burst down with potentially a shotgun, being able to move around the map with the waveform. It feels comfortable in Sqreen Squad's lineup, and they've also got the Undying to back up with the VS. But when you go up against the Venomancer, I really don't think is going to accomplish much in this one.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Again, it's overshadowed by the Undying Vengeful Spirit aggressiveness. Venomancer can play that defensive role, but with the amount of slow that you get from a Gale, you generally want to be killing things, and you can't really kill things, especially if Sqreen Squad are going to be aiming to make this a tri-v-tri lane. Morphling Undying Vengeful Spirit is probably not going to lose, given any 3-hero combination from xGame. Maybe Centaur, Rubik, Venomancer could hold their own, but yeah, I don't know. Sqreen Squad, their tri-lane is just absolutely devastating, and the other 2 lanes aren't sacrificed in exchange, so I have to favor Sqreen Squad's lineup a little bit more, just looking at this draft.
Ah, so you're already putting your bet down. Normally when I'm casting with Couch, I have to poke him and ask him who he's going to bet on, but with you, it's simple. You're a betting man.
Yeah, I didn't say that I think they're going to win. I'm just saying I like their lineup a little bit more.
Ah, you see. So who are you going to say is going to win, then?
I would say it's probably 60-40 Sqreen Squad.
60-40 Sqreen Squad. Okay, I can see those odds. I'm going to favour Sqreen Squad with my bet as well. I mean, generally, when you've got an Undying, you're looking at the potential for a tri-lane, and Undying is a tri-lane destroyer. Sure, you are correct in saying that it could be a tri-v-tri, but in a tri-v-tri scenario, an Undying will still be king because of the ability to steal from multiple sources per decay.
Mm-hmm. Especially when those sources are inherently soft heroes to start out with. Rubik, Naga Siren, potentially Venomancer. All these heroes can't really afford to give up that strength to the Undying. It's just a little bit too much. But after the traditional pause to start the game, guys, we are in. And there's going to be game 1 of the best of 3 between xGame and Sqreen Squad. Let's go over who's going to be playing what on Sqreen Squad. We got to Death Prophet. Going to be handled by Necroman. Kind of appropriate, I suppose. Sqreen is going to be leading the charge with the Undying, and Hiroso is on the Vengeful Spirit. Slander is going to be playing the Tidehunter, and that leaves ZXC on the Morphling.
And of course, on the flip side of that coin, over for xGame, we've got Skullcat handling the Batrider. He's going to be heading down to that bottom lane, and he's going to have to be very careful because they could get the 5-man rotation through the jungle. Actually, charge being led by Hiroso, they could look to pick off the bat here, and Skullcat needs to be very careful. They've seen him, and now he needs to get the hell out of dodge. All it will take is one magic missile to kill him here, and through the trees we go, looking straight for Skullcat. In comes the Gush. Waveform as well. Is it enough to bring him down? Yes, it damn well is. First blood picked up by Necroman on that Death Prophet. But I seem to have gotten sidetracked. For the rest of xGame, we do, of course, have Equal handling the Venomancer. Over in the mid lane, we've got Mantis going to be handling that mid Naga Siren, so it is a core Naga, not a support. Then over in the off lane, we've got Whatterfucker handling the Centaur Warrunner, and finally, Reeves on the Rubik.
Alright, so a nice little start for Sqreen Squad, grabbing that first blood. Death Prophet also somehow nabbing that one with a very long-range Crypt Swarm is going to mean that, despite the fact that she opened up with Null Talisman and 3 branches, she's going to be extremely, extremely close to her bottle. Not that she really needed it against a Death Prophet, against a Naga Siren rather. Death Prophet is going to have a favorable matchup, a very heavily favored matchup. But, you know, earlier bottle means more Crypt Swarm harassment, means that Naga Siren is going to have a little bit less fun of a time, who's going to get a bottle at just about the same time, but Naga Siren can't really do much against this Death Prophet outside of some heavy support rotations.
Oh, the heavy support rotations is what I would be expecting, in all honesty. But Mantis, he's proven time and time again he can handle a Naga in this mid lane. And it is all going to come down to the bottle timings when you think about it. I mean, Necroman will have his bottle up in 150 gold. He's going to be able to bottle Crow more. Equally, Mantis, where does he stand in this one? He went for a very economic start in this game, and he's going to have his bottle pretty much now. So bottle timings are going to be about the same. So at the end of the day, the First Blood doesn't really accomplish all that much with an impact towards this early game.
Yeah, it's always going to be just a little bit of a jump, but sometimes it matters just a lot more. We actually see Sqreen Squad's Undying pretty much running a dual lane right now. With xGame running the Rubik just doing pulling and stuff for now, they aren't actually working with a full-on tri-lane, and that means Undying's power is extremely decreased. You really want to have a 3v3 matchup, or Undying versus 3 heroes matchup, so that you can get the value out of the decay. It's still doing quite a lot of work to Mantis, like he's all the way down to 13 strength, holding on to 150 HP with 500 HP max, so he's doing some good work, but right now Sqreen Squad, what they want to be doing is fighting with this Undying, not just simply poking away.
I will completely agree to that one, but it is forcing Mantis back slightly. I mean, these Crypt Swarms are doing a large amount in terms of damage, and It's almost a level 3 up on that Death Prophet, so level 2 Crypt Swarm any moment. And that's going to be a big problem for Mantis, especially if the Undying rotates in with a few more Decays. I mean, you can't underestimate Decay's damage, and Necroman is just continuing to siege. It's going to force that Nagasiren completely away from the lane, and I don't see this being favourable at all. But Sqreen will even find himself the rune, and, well, Mantis is just not going to have a fun time in this lane. He's not going to have rune control, he's not going to have lane control or creep control.
Yeah, and those extra Crypt Swarms coming in, a lot having to do with the fact that he got that bottle so much earlier, so he was able to drain, 3 bottle charges into Crypt Swarms into the Nagasiren, and, well, it's going to give him a nice little advantage, already forcing the Nagasiren off. He's completely out of tangos, 100% reliant on the bottle at this point. It was going to happen sooner or later, but generally it does happen a little bit later. Batrider has been mostly jungling, although his hard camp has been blocked, or one of the hard camps has been blocked. Rubik has been mostly just pulling it. Equal's been getting a good amount of experience and farm down on the bottom lane. xGame, they're really doing some elaborate juggling act with their lanes. No one's really staying in any place, especially on the bottom lane, for a very long time.
And the juggling act, sure, it can have some advantage, but Equal is lacking in terms of levels. I mean, sure, you've got Reeves nearby taking some experience, but also pulling. I mean, levels is what you need on a Venomancer. Level advantage is pretty much key to have a good game as Veno, but equally Reeves getting some harassment being thrown into him with the Gush, with those decays, it's going to force him back, and just look how quickly the Rubik can drop in this matchup. I mean, especially with Stolen Strength. The damage out of a decay is always deceptive. I mean, if you think about it mathematically, it steals 4 strength per application as well as deals a small amount of damage. That 4 strength is, at the end of the day, 76 health total.
I'm not sure if it actually steals strength first or does damage first. Do you have any idea how that works? Because that actually will increase or decrease the amount of damage it actually does.
I think both are... that's actually a really good question. I believe, based on the wording of the ability, that it deals damage and steals strength, so it should be in that order.
Alright, so that means the damage is going to be slightly decreased overall, but it's not going to matter. It still does a lot. I think that's the point we're really trying to get across, is Equal is actually in a lot of trouble. Gush into the bottom lane. There's no Anchor Smash mana, but I think Sqreen with just the right click is going to be able to beat this Venomancer down. One more punch in the back, Venomancer is going to go down. That damage is quite a bit, and Tidehunter actually going for that 1 point in Gush earlier because of that Batrider First Blood. It's going to help him quite a bit. Ordinarily wouldn't see this kind of build from Tidehunter, but he's going to be pretty lucky that he has it right now.
Indeed, I'll completely agree to that one, and well, the deceptive strength of an Undying, it's a very worrying thing. But in the meantime, mid lane Necroman will clean up Mantis, and early game advantage, 0-3 kill score to Sqreen Squad. This is quite the early game potential coming out of them, and if they can get their Death Ball online, it's all going to be very rough for xGame.
Yeah, and Death Prophet's already heading very quickly to that direction. Now she's going to rotate down to the bottom lane. Not sure how much she's actually going to get accomplished, but she's getting her levels up, and really that's all the Death Prophet really wants. Getting farm up is just the cherry on the cake. She's at level 3 Witchcraft rather. Exorcism and level 4 Witchcraft is going to be coming shortly enough, and well, the Undying's going to mess with the Batrider just a little bit, who's actually been pretty much farming unimpeded in his own jungle. So it could be that xGame are going to find a moment where their Batrider has a blink, and then they could catch Sqreen Squad by surprise.
Mid lane though. In comes the Tombstone. Mantis could be in a lot of trouble here. With 1 decay and a Crypt Swarm, that's going to easily be a turnaround kill, and Necroman sure is low, but gets another one.
And this Nagasiren, I said that her matchup is not good. I didn't realize it was going to be this terrible. Now with the level 7 onto Necroman, double damage rune as well, they're going to go for the tower, and they should be able to claim it pretty easily. No one from xGame is in the area, and even if they were, I don't know if they would be able to do anything about this. So Sqreen Squad with a nice 4-0 kill advantage and a tower to the name as well. Looking to start this game off really quickly, and really that's what we said that they were going to do. With this Morphling, they even have some late game insurance, although Morphling not farming as well as I really would have thought.
No, the Morphling in this case, I mean, I honestly expected ZXC to be able to get more out of these lanes. I mean, he's 20 for 7 total, sure, that's okay, but I expect more of a Morphling, especially when you're backed up by a VS against a Centaur. Your 2 range, effectively, sure, shorter range heroes are, be it against a Centaur, but you still have a stun and potential for waveform, so you can get kills, and you should be able to farm a bit more aggressively.
Meantime, Batrider's going to lay 4 or 5 stacks of Napalm on that Undying. Now going to try to take to the high ground and teleport away. It's a lot of damage from the Death Prophet as well as that Tombstone, but not going to be enough ultimately. So Batrider finds the nice kill, and actually he's gone for Tranquil Boots instead of straight Blink Dagger. I mean, it's a decent enough item, but he was at like 1400-ish gold. He definitely would have the Blink Dagger right now, although maybe he wouldn't have gotten that kill. So it's going to put xGame on the board, and it's going to give them a little bit of hope, but it's going to be just a matter of time before Sqreen Squad decide to push again. Death Prophet's ultimate will be up in 30 seconds. She wants more Witchcraft, but it'll happen eventually.
It'll happen eventually, yes, and the only reason we have this level 7 point in the ult instead of the usual point at level 8 or level 9 is because the opportunity to take a tower off the back of that mid-kill. I mean, it's the reason for the more unusual skill build, and you can see just the power and the map control that Sqreen Squad are going to be going for. In the meantime, top lane, they do go for the potential kill on ZXC, but he's going to waveform out with the Stampede, though. Can they catch up and do enough damage in time? I don't think they can. He can't double edge either. That will potentially get him killed, and ZXC, well, ZXC won't be able to get the kill, but will survive the potential for ganking, and it does put Stampede on the clock for a good 100 seconds.
Yeah, it's a nice cooldown to not worry about, but also the Centaur. I have to say most Centaurs would have just gone for it and would have ultimately resulted in their kill, but Wadafaka holding the trigger and is going to be happy that he did so, because he otherwise would have just died. The rest of the heroes down in the bottom lane are going to deploy the second exorcism of the game and try to take this tower. However, Stallcat is in the area, as well as Equal and Reeves, to try to kind of poke down the wave, and they will be able to defend this tower a lot better than they defended mid lane, as Necroman is actually pretty weak right now. They don't have a swap yet, and I don't think Sqreen Squad can actually take this tower, so I guess defense is successful for xGame, though these three heroes didn't actually do this much within this duration.
Well, this second exorcism, it didn't pay off. I mean, they committed a little too heavily when there were multiple heroes nearby, as well as the potential for a creep wave. And you've got to remember, Equal is going for the Plague Ward build, so it's going to be able to ward away the exorcism at least a small amount, especially if he can get this number of wards up. But my next question is, what are we going to see come out of xGame? What do they have in the pipeline for the near future? I mean, they're nowhere near a Blink Dagger on Wadafaka. He's got a Stampede up in 3 seconds, so could look for a kill with that. They've got Song of the Siren now and a Haste Rune on the Naga. Could look for some kind of aggression with that, but they don't have Ensnare. And I feel like they're light on the lockdown right now. Sure, they've got a hard stun coming out of the Rubik, as well as Lasso now available, but there is still no Blink Dagger on Stallcat, and that is a big problem.
I feel like they're light on everything right now. It's pretty much as Sqreen Squad with everything that they could work with, whereas xGame, their largest jump of power will come in about 600 gold for the Batrider. That Blink Dagger and then the following Blink Dagger on the Centaur are going to be pretty much the largest pickups for xGame within the foreseeable future. You know, eventually the Naga Siren will get her Relic and stuff like that, but that's going to come much, much, much later. Wadafaka up on top is trying to be aggressive versus the Morphling, but this might turn out to be a bad idea, as Troso is going to land a level 3 Magic Missile and get out of range for that Stomp. However, here comes Stampede with the Batrider as well. Stomp on Troso, double-edging that Venture Spirit down, now trying to go for the Morphling. He'll waveform out, and Stallcat unfortunately can't get the lasso in time, but he's still actually going to chase this one. Sqreen Squad, where is your teleportation support for this Morphling? Because he's in quite a bit of trouble right now. You should probably come and save him. You can get lassoed back into the Rubik, a little more Fade Bolt damage. Strength Morph is there. However, he's quickly running out of mana, ZXC, and now the teleportation comes in. The Vengeful Spirit once again. ZXC will survive as they do come in from the side. Necroman, right with the Exorcism, is going to clean up 2 heroes instantly. And now Reeves stole his Strength Morph, which is a fantastic skill to steal, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to save him. It's only 1 rotation in from Necroman. I'm actually surprised that Sqreen Squad didn't teleport heroes in much faster, but hey, it worked out pretty well for them in the end.
Indeed, that's a 3 for 0 at the end of the day. The Morphling survived that entire kerfuffle, and at the end of the day, you can't ask for more. Sqreen Squad showing their form here.
Yeah, Strength Morph is pretty damn good on the Morphling. It was limited by the mana, but still, he managed to get it down, and I mean, there was no rotation from the Undying or anything like that, who I thought would be the first one, and then the Tidehunter following, but the Morphling was deceptively tanky. In xGame, they missed a stomp on the Centaur when they tried to pull the Morphling back in with the Rubik. I don't think that really would have made that much of a difference, but I think Centaur probably just would have stomped double-edged and then, you know, taken his chances at 1 HP from there on out. It would have at least gotten the kill, I want to say, on the Morphling, but at this point, Morphling is going to happily return back to the lane and then just keep farming. He has the Ring of Health, and he has all of the intermediate items already up. He's not farming the best, but his Lincoln Sphere is going to be coming up at a pretty steady rate.
Indeed, and when his Lincoln Sphere comes online, it's going to at least help him tank up considerably. I mean, he'll be able to avoid, say, the double edge. Certainly, he'll also be able to dodge the lasso, and those are the 2 main ones that he'll be able to escape. I mean, sure, he can dodge the Rubik's telekinesis, but there are many other abilities that he fears in this game that's not telekinesis.
Yeah, it's mostly the lasso. It's like telekinesis, except better, almost in every way, so you have that going for you, and Stallcat, he's nowhere near his Blink Dagger, or he's very close to his Blink Dagger, but he's nowhere near his follow-up Force Staff, so there's no way that the Bat Rider is going to get the initiation he really wants. And most Green Squad, they have the Ravage that they have not used just yet, and they also have Exorcism. They're going to be looking to get a pick-off on potentially Stallcat, but they're wrapping around. There are quite a bit of defensive tools available for xGame. They're all going to chase down Stallcat. I don't really know if this is worth their time, but yeah, this Crypt Swarm was stolen by Rubik. That with Fade Bolt is going to annihilate a Creep Wave and the Plague Wards. Oh, they're just going to go for it. Yeah, drop the Tombstone, force Equal out, and suddenly Reeves is all alone. He's going to try to fight his way out. He's going to put some serious damage onto a lot of the Scree Squad heroes, but it's all going to be in vain. He was going to go down. If he didn't TP, he was going to go down regardless. So that's going to be one kill going the way of Screen Squad, and with the rest of this Exorcism duration, they're going to take down this tower as well.
And with this tower going down, what do we have coming potentially next for Screen Squad? I mean, that's going to help get that Lincolns that we mentioned before. We've got on the Death Prophet the Yule's finish, so looking for maybe a BKB next. And having to deal with the potential problem of Mantis being a bit of a pain in this middle lane, just with his potential for a split push. But other potential items coming online. We've almost got a mechanism for the Tidehunter. In fact, we're only missing 800 gold, and he's going to get that from the Ancients, potentially from the stack. And for the VS and the Undying, they're just going to continue to farm up as best they can. We've got a pipe going to be the order of business for Sqreen. And honestly, from these kills and the towers they've got early, this could be a very, very steep uphill game for xGame to fight into now. It's a 4,000 gold lead as well as a 3,000 experience lead. And sure, it's not much, but the items that they're choosing to go for with this small lead, the pipe, the mech, as well as for the Morphling, that Lincolns, they're going to be near unkillable when these things come online.
It's going to be very difficult for xGame, but fortunately for them, Naga Siren, after that kind of aggressive start from Screen Squad, has actually left the Naga Siren more or less alone. She's now at 2,600 gold, and she's been pushing the mid lane pretty aggressively, brought the tier 2 tower down very, very low, in addition to taking down the tier 1, while Screen Squad were down the bottom lane doing their own thing down there. So xGame, they just have to make sure that this Naga Siren doesn't die. The Radiance Naga Siren, if she does get that item up, can very quickly equalize a game, and really that's what xGame are playing to right now. Just try to buy time and try to make sure that they don't die too many times so that Mantis could get his Radiance up, and then eventually his Booted Travels, and then all of those other goodie items that you get on the Naga Siren following. It's going to take quite a long time, but Naga Siren's actually doing pretty well so far.
Well, it's all about the timing. If they can get this Radiance online and they can start accelerating towards further itemization of the Naga, it's completely fine, but he needs the rest of his team to buy that time for him. And Slander could be the target here. He's eating a few stacks of napalm, but they're not going to be able to get the kill that easily. I was thinking they might go for the lasso, but it's going to be a very hard kill. I mean, a Tide is a pretty tough one, but in the meantime, top lane could have another fight breaking out. Reeves got to back up fairly quickly. The Tombstone goes down. Exorcism is here as well. Can they really fight into the Tombstone as well as an Exorcism? I honestly don't think they can.
Yeah, they definitely can't fight into a Tombstone, let alone that Exorcism. Hiroso is going to drop very low. He's actually going to get no skills off at all. Reeves' Waveform is going to take that kill, but in exchange, he will give up his life. Now they're looking for Equal and Stallcat. The Eul Scepter is available, although Necroman, there's the Eul Scepter onto Venomancer. Where's the rest of the team, though? The rest of the team's already gone. It might not matter. Equal is going to survive just barely. I mean, Undying could have very easily secured that kill. I guess Tidehunter was not a part of that at all. Screen Squad, they get the tower and they get a kill again, but it's at the cost of the Vengeful Spirit, and they could have potentially gotten more.
I think they could have potentially gone for more, yes, but you got to remember, the Rubik made a very ballsy play, got a support for a support, and that gave him a little bit more gold and experience, but Starcup being a little bit aggressive, doesn't go for the lasso though, can't really risk that, and now we see the re-engage onto this top lane, and with that Eul's, with the potential for damage, what a fuck up could get brought down, the swap is there, and there is no escape from this one. You get one more hoof stomp off, but it's a futile effort. A death on the Centaur.
And finally, the Tidehunter decides to arrive. He has farmed up the mech throughout this game, but I feel like he hasn't really been playing with the rest of his team for the most part. They have the Ravage level 1, and, well, they haven't used it just yet. They are getting the big items up regardless, so this Tidehunter, with his farm, is going to always be able to contribute somewhat. And now that he has his mech, he's going to be damn difficult for xGame to kill. Like, with level 3 Kraken Shell and mech is a ton of survivability for this guy, and also you have to worry about the Undying. So, Screen Squad, they have a really bulky front line at this stage in the game, and, well, it's just a matter of time before they decide to go for some tier 2s. In xGame, they can't really defend once the Tombstone gets dropped. If you want to fight into that, they're most likely just going to die. They just need to buy more time for Mantis, who now has his Relic up.
Indeed, and that Relic It's almost there. When we have that Radiance online, the farm will increase exponentially just by using the illusions to farm multiple camps in the jungle, and that's the reason we see this build from this mid lane Naga. Just the ability to continuously farm the entire jungle. Of course, when the camps aren't blocked by, say, enemy wards, but my point stands.
Yeah, and there was a couple of blocking wards for Sqreen Squad in the enemy jungle. I think the hard camp was the one that lasted the longest. I think there might have been an anti-pull camp at some point, but I don't really know the exact status of that. They're going to go for Roshan between Gush, Medallion, and the Howl of Terror. Wave of Terror, and Exorcism. This Roshan is going to be very, very quickly eaten up, and at the same time, Batrider is actually going to get a kill on the Morphling. Okay, I don't really know what Morphling was doing down there, but I guess he bought time for the rest of the team to take Roshan.
I think we're going to have to call this space created. I can't think of another name for this. I'm not sure why he was that far down there. And honestly, I'm surprised the Morphling even died for that. I mean, generally, Replicate you would have somewhere on the map for safety, but while we go on about that, on the top lane, you do have Sqreen poking and prodding with Reeves, and the pings do go onto the Rubik, and do we have the potential to rotate in? Rosso is coming in, does have that magic missile, and this could be a very big kill on the Rubik. With that magic missile and the tombstone down, I see no escape from this one. And a nice clean up for Sqreen there.
Yeah, Rubik deceptively tanky with the 50 strength because he stole that Morphling's strength agility morph previously, but these two supports, especially if they drop the tombstone and the flesh golem of the Undying, no hero is really going to be able to withstand that. Maybe Centaur will survive, but Rubik most certainly not. The rest of the Sqreen Squad now on the bottom lane. Necroman has the Exorcism up in 30. They have the Ravage as well. I don't really know if they should be pushing just these two heroes. I'm pretty sure that's how the Morphling just died, but they're just putting as much pressure as they can on as many lanes as possible. Naga Siren's going to almost have her Radiance completed, though, so soon enough, that's going to be a very bad idea, or a very mediocre idea. It's not going to accomplish much, and Naga Siren's going to be farming all of that up with the Radiance burn, so Sqreen Squad, now that the Naga Siren has her Radiance, it's going to happen very shortly, they're now on a pseudo timer. They have Morphling to combat her late game, but I would say by far Naga Siren is the most potent late game force.
I'll completely agree to that one. The Naga Siren can chew through even a Morphling, so I think it's very fair with me saying time is the fire here in which Sqreen Squad will burn. If this game goes too late, not even the Morphling will be able to hold this. I mean, we're looking for a Diffusal Blade. That will kill off Morphling's total mana and remove the ability for him to morph away.
Yeah, so Naga Siren's going to be a problem, and Sqreen Squad, with only Tier 1 towers to their name, they haven't actually put that much damage onto the Tier 2s just yet. It's the Venomancer playing his defensive role, which is ordinarily not what we see that often coming out from Venomancer, especially nowadays. It used to be he was picked up almost exclusively just to defend stuff or to push stuff. But nowadays it's going to be, you pick your core Venomancer, get him lots of levels. Poison Nova does a lot of damage, especially when amplified with Aghanims, Veil, all that good stuff. But being just a defensive hero, along with Batrider's defensive capabilities and Firefly and just the threat of initiation, they've actually crafted themselves a pretty nice defensive lineup just to protect this Naga Siren. And in that regard, it's kind of an older lineup, but it's still apparently just as effective.
It's more a 4 protect 1 older style that I would have tended to expect from originally the Chinese teams, but this could potentially work. All they need to do is make the space and buy the time for that Naga. The longer that Naga has to farm, the better their potential into that mid to late game. But I don't think Sqreen Squad really want to give them that opportunity, and they're going to start cracking with an Exorcism on the Tier 2 mid lane, and all it will take is a little bit of poking and prodding. This tower could fall, and it could be even a Tier 3 if they want to push this with the next Exorcism.
Well, Sqreen Squad, they're looking for a swap. Rosso with level 1 is going to struggle to find it. They're going to lift up the Morphling to mess with him a little bit. Just skills are being thrown left and right for xGame. They just want to put as much chip damage as they can onto Sqreen Squad, and it's working pretty well. They're going to put a lot of damage onto these heroes. Now the Exorcism is up, and the tower still stands. These Plague, there's a swap in, but what the hell just happened?
I do not know.
Okay, so he replicated out. Now a jump in from Wadafaka. Gonna let a two-man stomp with the double edge, killing off the Vengeful Spirit immediately. Tombstone is down, but xGame, they're not going to fight into the Tombstone. They get the pick, and I think they're just going to back off. Sqreen is going to lift it up, and now they want to go for Stallcat. Lots of slows. Do they have enough to kill him off with the silence and the waveform? They will. That's another kill going the way of Sqreen Squad. But xGame played that one out pretty well. They managed to dodge the Tombstone for the most part. Though they did lose a Tier 2 tower, they bought a lot of time for the Naga Siren up on top. She's now up to another 2,000-ish gold, and she brought down that Tier 1 tower up on the top lane.
Center also got the Tier 1 on the bottom lane before he TP'd back to base, so that was two towers in favor of xGame versus the Tier 2 for Sqreen Squad plus 1 kill apiece. So at the end of the day, xGame got the best of that advantage.
And really, you wouldn't expect them to have those advantageous trades at this stage in the game, but if they can make that happen, then it's going to be fantastic for them. But now the heart on the Death Prophet, so all that chip damage is really not going to stick for very long. However, Poison Sting and all that damage over time from the Veno is going to be certainly annoying for the Death Prophet now that she has her heart. She's going to be looking for as many more objectives as she possibly can, especially with Aegis still on her person. It's going to be another Tier 2, and the question is this time, can xGame make a Tier 2 for a Tier 2 trade anywhere on the map? The lanes are being pushed out first by Sqreen Squad before they go anywhere, so it's going to be a little bit difficult for this Naga Siren to do it, but she has her travels, so if there is any opening, she will be there.
I'll completely agree to that one. All it will take is one opening, and Naga will be there, burning everything to death. And I'm honestly expecting in this game a Diffusal Blade, as I mentioned earlier, and I don't think we'll see the Manta potentially, but part of me thinks a BKB would not go amiss on Mantis in this case. It's not usually a hero we will see pick up a BKB, but it could be necessary. But we do get the Stampede on that bottom lane just to retreat. Can they get away in time? I don't think they can. Whatafaka could be in a lot of trouble. The Tombstone's dropped, and now he's in a lot of trouble. He's going to start getting zombies all over him. But he manages to blink before the zombies spawn, which surprises me greatly. That he's still going to fall here, but he's baiting the enemy team's lineup away. While in the other side of this fight, we've got Necroman trying to kill as many with the Exorcism as possible, but he cannot kill either Stalcat or equal that easily. He's going to at least cut the creep wave, though, and start getting the momentum on this tower. They want to bring down this tier 2, but I have a feeling that this Exorcism may have been too early.
Yeah, it was definitely a little early. They're going to clean up a lot of these Plague Wards, which is great, but they're very quickly losing the top lane tier 2. I think the Centaur really showing the Morphling how to create space. I don't know how he managed to blink out of a Tombstone. That seems, you said it was surprising for you. It was just as surprising for me. They're going to go for this tier 2 tower push regardless, and Equal is going to take a gush. He has to be careful not to get too close. Now the Howl of Terror as well. Equal is going to take a ton of physical damage from that. Now Sqreen, up into the air after the lasso, doing pretty much nothing. Flesh Golem not deployed just yet. The Naga Siren is now here with the wave, with her spells to try to clear this off, and now ZXE lifts up into the air. Still has that Lincoln Sphere, regenerating up pretty swiftly. Tombstone is down, and xGame pretty much cannot cross this line into Tombstone territory. Now another Stampede, Ravage, only onto Wotafaka, but the Song of the Siren is going to mean that the Centaur does get to walk away. Adventure Spirit pretty low on the back lines. They're going to look for more waveform forward. The Venomancer is going to dodge it because Necroman sent him up into the air, but they will kill off both the Venomancer as well as potentially Reeves. The Venomancer got his ultimate off before he went down. Now Sqreen getting burned down very quickly by that Poison Nova, and Centaur jumping in as well, ultimately not doing that much. Necroman's going to lose his Aegis, and now Stalcat blinking forward for more. Slender is going to escape, and ZXE is also going to escape, and Necroman now on the run. I don't know if he's going to be as lucky as his friendlies, but that was a pretty heavy bloodbath down the bottom lane. I guess they took down the tier 2 tower, which was the objective, but they definitely lost a lot more than they really would have expected. The Naga Siren ultimate really coming in big there.
They lost the Aegis as well as the Undying, and honestly, I think that fight could have been even more favourable for xGame if the Naga had hung around a little bit longer, because the reason the Venomancer and the Rubik got priority targeted there was because the Naga moved too far away with the Song, letting Sqreen Squad start to wake up.
Yeah, you got to make sure to keep your positioning tight with that Naga Siren Song. Otherwise, you could very easily end up screwing over a couple of teammates. But she didn't go down, Mantis, and that's really the most important thing for xGame. Keeping this Naga Siren alive so that she could go for the likes of that Mantis style, so illusions everywhere. And then I could only expect Diffusal Heart in her future. Diffusal Blade, one of the best items you can pick up for Naga Siren, especially against the likes of a Morphling to burn his mana. Sqreen's going to run into Stalcat Lasso, being reserved for that target, but it's a pretty tanky one. He's going to try to bring him over to the Ancients, but Stalcat, I think for the most part, is just going to bail. In the meantime, Mantis is on the bottom lane, fighting up with the Morphling just a little bit, but I don't even know if Morphling could take this fight. He does have a Replicate out, so there's no way that Mantis is going to want to stand and fight, but still, this Naga Siren is getting pretty powerful, even if she doesn't really recognize it at this point. Stalcat is going to get swapped back, but the rest of the Sqreen Squad up on top lane, Exorcism will take down yet another tower.
Indeed, and this all came about in my mind because the Batrider tried to go for the Undying with no one nearby to help him. He used his lasso, which is a pretty extensive cooldown at this point. Still down for another 30 seconds, but look how many fights have happened in such a short period of time. Putting lasso on cooldown like that, I'm not sure if that was the wisest idea, and they'll lose the tier 2 for that. They realise without the lasso they can't really take the fight. So they'll concede the tier 2 and just continue to split farm. This is still, of course, buying time for the Naga Siren, but at the end of the day, graph-wise we look at it, it's only a small advantage to have Sqreen Squad right now. They needed these towers. They needed to keep getting them, considering Mantis is farming up like an absolute king. It's near a 5,000 gold lead for Sqreen Squad, and experience-wise, only 7,500. But at the end of the day, it is the gold per minute on this Naga Siren and the net worth on her that counts. Gold per minute-wise, 550. We've got that Radiance up now. She's farming multiple camps in the jungle, doing everything she can. But her total net worth, nearly 14,000. She's got the Yasha. She has a Mantis-style recipe, almost has enough money for the ultimate orb. It's getting quite scary.
Going to try to go for Stalkat once again. Unfortunately for Vengeful Spirit, that projectile is pretty slow in the grand scheme of things, and she will not be able to get that targets down. And, well, Morphling is still farming up decently as well, but the time bomb of Naga Siren is definitely a lot more threatening than the Morphling Equal. Going to run straight into Sqreen. Going to deploy the Tombstone. Instantly Equal is going to teleport out. No Yule's Cyclone or anything like that to interrupt. But Mantis, he might not be as lucky. Hiroso is going to look for the swap. No, Halterra not going to let that happen. In the meantime, Centaur messing with Necromancer a little bit on the bottom lane. Ended up pushing that tower a little bit. Ultimately, no kills being traded either way, but xGame, because they didn't lose anyone, they're very happy with that, because Naga Siren has still been farming the entire time. Mantis style now completed. She doesn't have a buyback, and that could potentially be a pretty large opening for Sqreen Squad, since they do have the Ravage and the Exorcism. If they kill off this Naga Siren, then they could very easily take Raxes if the fight goes their way.
True, but that assumes the Naga Siren doesn't get the opportunity to sing, and, well, you know how much I hate the Song of the Siren. You really do. Mm-hmm. It's one of those spells that just breaks all the momentum, gives her that chance to get out with her team reset, assuming they can all retreat. And then they can just re-engage, potentially with that lasso, with a good Centaur stomp. I mean, looking for a good stomp off the back of a Song of the Siren, probably the best thing they can do in terms of setup. On top of all of that, they do have the Venomancer starting to build towards an Aghanim's, has level 2 on the Poison Nova. These items are starting to come online for xGame, but can they get them up in time? The next big fight might decide Rax, as you do mention.
Yeah, I think we're almost at that tipping point where Sqreen Squad are still very much so in control of this game, but in the next 5 minutes or something, like by 30 minutes, xGame are going to start taking back some of that control. So Sqreen Squad, their window is closing, not completely closed just yet, but they still have a pretty delicate situation to work with. Not sure exactly why we're paused, but it looks like we're going to be getting back into this game shortly. So Sqreen Squad, the next couple minutes is going to be crunch time. They're capable of taking this later on if the Morphling gets really big, and they always have a Ravage to work with, but this is really their biggest opening, and it's going to be their biggest opening in a long time.
Indeed, and honestly, the way I look at this, if Mantis gets a Diffusal Blade online now, it might be all over for Sqreen Squad, but for the crying. But of course, this is a best-of-3 series. One game, sure, it'll give them advantage, but they still can fight back in a second should they need to. But my next question is, Roshan, could he be the next order of business equally? I mean, they could wait the 1 minute just over for Roshan to respawn, take that, then look to maybe push high ground at xGame's base. Sure, not an easy feat, and it does give that Naga another minute to continue farming, but it could be the right call. Then again, what if I get in a lot of trouble now? In comes the Stampede. They're going to be forced to retreat here. Still in the backlines, you do have Reeves. He will start poking and prodding at Hiroso. Then comes the Wave of Terror. Do they have the swap or the vision to stun him? No, they don't, not at the minute. But Reeves, he can TP out. He's still baiting Hiroso in, and as we stand right now, I mean, just going to waste the time of the Vengeful Spirit.
Man, that was some ballsy play for Reeves. If anyone else came in addition to that Vengeful Spirit, that could have been his death pretty easily, but hey, he managed to stick the landing. This Roshan timer actually extremely unfortunate for Sqreen Squad. Long Roshans is going to benefit the xGame side who just want to stall. If Sqreen Squad had a much shorter Roshan timer, like if it was the instantaneous one, then they would have been knocking on the high ground of xGame right now, and the game might very well be over if that was the case, but because Roshan and Dota in general are going to decide that the Aegis is not going to be respawning in that short duration, Sqreen Squad, they're just forced to wait. Now the Roshan is up again, and now they can start looking for it, but that was just a lot of time where they could have been doing so much more.
I think this is a case of Sod's Law. I mean, they're going to pop the Exorcism, they're going to go straight for the Roshan, but as you do mention, an earlier Roshan could have sealed the deal. I mean, maybe they need to make a few more offerings to Joe Pesci, but sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, or the sun, maybe.
Maybe. But nonetheless, we do get that Aegis for the Death Prophet, and we're going to be looking just for more fighting now, I think. We're going to look for using this Aegis. We're going to look to shunt a Tier 3, maybe get a full set of racks. That's got to be the order of business for Sqreen Squad, because as we stand, if xGame continue to just farm like they are, xGame will take control of this game in a big way.
Yeah, and where can Sqreen Squad actually push? Naga Siren with her illusions, given her mirror image skill, and then her Manta style illusions as well. The lanes are going to be very difficult for Sqreen Squad to get actually any pressure going. Like, the momentum is always going to be pushed towards the Sqreen Squad base because of these constant Radiance illusions being sent out, and especially if Slander dies up on the top lane. He has a Force Staff just now picked up, so he will be safe, but they're going to juggle heroes up to the top lane to save the Tidehunter, have to worry about bottom lane where Wadafaka and Reeves are pushing in. xGame, they're just playing this slow and steady, and despite the fact that Sqreen Squad do have that Aegis, I don't know if they could actually get into a position where they could force the fight and actually use that Aegis, because at this point, Naga Siren, she's killing every single lane by herself.
Indeed, she is quite literally just the emergency that they call in to just push out the lanes. I mean, she has the ability to with that Crypt Swarm, but my big hesitance here right now is if they're having to contend with so many lanes, are they going to be able to take a team fight on any one without risk of another being pushed in? I mean, the split push is becoming incredibly scary.
Yeah, they could potentially go for the Hail Mary. They're going to go for Sqreen down in the bottom lane. Lasso with Stampede is pretty brutal, and he was going to sit in the fire. Pipe will save him for the moment, although one more right click in the bat will secure that kill. And now Wadafaka is going to get gushed up. Anger Smash in exchange. It's a 1-for-1 trade overall. Stampede is down. I think this is probably Sqreen Squad's best chance at making something happen, but if they do just go for Hail Mary, odds are Mantis is going to boot to travel somewhere and make it a potential base race or base trade. So yeah, Sqreen Squad, if they're constantly on the defensive like this, they are going to lose this game. So I think it might just be time to group up and YOLO push.
I'm getting that feeling, yes. And while all of these little squabbles have been going on across the map, top tier 2 going to be brought down by that Naga Siren and just the constant split push of Mantis. And he has played this one spectacularly. He is quite literally the scalpel in the lineup of xGame, going in, getting what they need, and backing out.
But it looks like the hammer is going to drop on the middle lane. Sqreen Squad, they are going to push for it, and they have to worry about bottom lane, though top lane is actually not pushing as much. An illusion was there from, I believe, a Morphling, so that probably was a replicate. Yeah, it was. It was just drawing the creep wave back, letting the Naga Siren having to worry about that. So the creep wave is going to crash into the top lane pretty heavily, but at the same time, Sqreen Squad, they're going to look to crash on the middle lane. Stallcat has a BKB now, so any interruption is going to be very difficult outside of Hroso's swap. Middle lane is going to be the push. The creeps are not going to be reinforced, however, because Naga Siren is in that perfect position. They could just tank the tower, though, since they do have the heart. Necroman's going to use Shivas for some reason, and they're going to try to take down this tower. Fortification is going to pop, and I don't know what's happening in the Dire base, but I'm pretty sure it can't be going that well. So the Plague Wards are going to town in ZXC, taking quite a bit of damage as the tower is rapidly going down. That's going to be a tower destruction. Now, can they get Raxes? That's the big question right here. Exorcism still going to work, and Tidehunter Undying, both in the back lines. ZXC and Necroman both going to chip down, but the Raxes do fall, in fact. And xGame, they don't do anything to defend. What's the trade look like? Maybe one tier 3 up top, but it's going to be Rax for nothing, assuming they all get out alive. But Necroman, he's not going to be able to get the clean escape. Wadafaka is going to jump forward with the Stomp. Does get Magic Missile and burst down very, very quickly. Ravage now going to secure the kill there. The equal, he will pop up his ultimate before he does go down, but he will in fact die. With the lasso going the way of Necroman, was quickly swapped out by Hroso. Still up onto the top lane, they're going for the ranged Raxes. Sqreen can't do enough to actually slow down these Naga Siren illusions, but it looks like everyone else from the Sqreen Squad is going to back up in time. They take the Venomancer kill, a couple of kills on the middle lane in xGame. That was pretty much the worst possible result for them, as well, they're going to get a kill onto Hroso. I guess that's something else, but they lost mid Raxes, and that's exactly what Sqreen Squad were looking for.
Indeed, I mean, they came in, they got the melee Rax, the all-important Rax, the one that the one that regenerates, and pretty damn big thing. But while you were keeping your eyes on the main team fight, I was watching Mantis, and Mantis played this one very smart. He used his Mantra illusions to curve around to the mid lane and cut the creep wave. The Radiance Burn dealt with those, so it would reduce the creep wave presence in that mid lane skirmish, considering how drawn out it was. He then rotated back top, used the mirror image, and continued hacking away on these top racks. I mean, sure, he didn't kill the range racks, but it's got 140 health left on it. That was, sure, a slight advantage towards Sqreen Squad, considering they got a melee Rax as well as a few kills and a few buybacks, but it wasn't a complete disaster for xGame by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, it is overall still very much so possible that xGame can come back from this, especially since their Naga Siren is holding on to 68, 73. Yeah, she's going to buy her Heart of Tarask up. and that means the illusions are going to be even more difficult to deal with. Unfortunately for Sqreen Squad, these illusions are going to be cutting down every single creep that comes into the top lane. Taking down the melee Raxes is very nice for Sqreen Squad. It means that the next set of Raxes is going to be that much easier, but once they get through the Naga Siren illusions, of course, and that's going to be very difficult. So it's going to help Sqreen Squad a lot, but normally it's not, especially in this game, it's not going to be as decisive as melee Raxes usually are.
Well, they're going to continue to play aggressively, at least coming out of Sqreen Squad, and even going aggressive as Shiva's, just looking for any pickoffs and any potential kills. I mean, I think they know about this courier. And what is this courier trying to buy? Pings go out, they know the courier is present. Is this the heart? Yeah, it's the Reaver. It's the final piece of the heart for the Naga Siren. And if they can kill that, that's going to be huge, but just look at the micro. They really want to protect this damn courier. If this courier goes down, it could be the game-winning move.
Yeah, no heart from the Naga Siren means she could actually just buy it up again because she's rich enough to do it, but that means no buyback. So they're going to pick off the Rubik first. Force Staff is going to get him out to safety, but the top lane is backdoor protected? No, mid lane is pushed in, so it's not backdoor protected. Now ZXC with the Manta Style Illusion is going to go to town on this tower. There's one down. Now BKB up on the Bat Rider. The swap not going to happen because he actually got Hiroso, but the Ravage is going to catch everyone. Mantis not sleeping just yet. Equal in the middle of everything is going to drop, and now Wadafaka is going to jump in, trying to kill off Hiroso. Won't not be able to do so. Mantis in the middle of everything now is going to try to go for Slander. Huge Crypt Storm from the Rubik off to the side, going to kill off 3 from the Sqreen Squad, and ZXC, Necroman, both on the way out. You know, the Exorcism is going to keep Death Prophet a little bit healthier. It's going to let her potentially teleport. No. She's going to get slept, and take a quick look at the Rax situation. The Rax is still stand. Necroman going to try to book it. He's tanky, but I don't think he's this tanky. 4 staffs everywhere. That's going to be 4 down in favor of xGame. They lose a tier 3 tower. Again, not a terribly huge deal. They don't get the Morphling, but they get 4 in exchange. Now they could crack back really hard.
Indeed they can, but of course all 4 members of Sqreen Squad right now have a buyback. That was a good fight for xGame, but if they really want to push the advantage here, they need to do that all over again. And we did use a buyback on the Venomancer there, and I'm actually going to keep buyback status up at this point, considering it's going to be oh so important. I mean, who has buybacks available? Pretty damn much everyone. Sentinel doesn't, he's got 2 minutes on the clock. Venomancer doesn't, he's got 5 minutes on the clock. And the VS and the Undying don't have enough gold as it stands. But now we're getting into that point of the game where this Naga has had so much time, she is going to be able to royally tear everyone a new one. And on top of all of that, she's got 6,000 gold. She could flat out buy herself, at this second, a butterfly.
Or anything else she could possibly want ever. I still think it's the diffuser blade.
Not exactly true. She couldn't buy
most stuff, fine. Be that way.
She couldn't buy an abyssal blade. I have to be technical.
Fine. She could buy most of anything that she could possibly want, but she's going to go for the cheaper item, but despite the fact that it is cheaper because she has so many illusions, it is still super, super effective. Diffusal Blade, level 1, looking to burn some charges before she upgrades it to level 2 perhaps, but now the Mana Burn is active for the Naga Siren. Suddenly these supports can very easily go down to these illusions just by themselves, and we might see that right now as Rosso is going to get basically put into the blender, and Sqreen, they're going to force the mech out. Wadafaka is going to jump in for a nice 3-man hoof stomp, but where's the rest of his team? Now Stalkat's going to jump in for the lasso onto Rosso. Slander does not have a Ravage right now, but there's not enough damage just yet. Naga Siren's going to slow everything down. Everyone calm down. Now Wadafaka is going to try to go for Rosso. He will take out the Vengeful Spirit. Where is everything else from Sqreen Squad? Their Morphling is nowhere near this fight. It's just the death on the Vengeful Spirit. All in all, actually, I think that went decently well for Sqreen Squad, but I don't think they could capitalize on this, especially with Wadafaka jumping right back in. Unfortunately for him, Slander is going to Kraken Shell that immediately. Wadafaka is going to be forced out to the high ground. Now the Ravage is going to pop, hit absolutely everyone. That's going to kill off the Centaur as well as Reeves, but now Sqreen Squad, they're pretty much out of juice. ZXE as well as Necroman, they just have to book it, and, well, it was just another stalling technique, I guess, coming out from xGame. It was fairly even, I want to say, but don't know the exact count on that. At the very worst, Mantis did not die.
Very true, very true. At the very worst, Mantis didn't die, but he is still continuing to farm up, he's still continuing to get kills. You say this could stall this out some more. What could they potentially be stalling out? He could sell the bottle and start working on a butterfly. That is pretty much the only thing I could think that they could possibly want to stall for now and have the ultimate, I am a 6-slot Naga, come at me. But having the Naga with all that farm, she can still be targeted and brought down. I mean, there is a lot of damage potential on Sqreen Squad. You look at the Morphling, what's he got? He's got a Butterfly himself. He's got a Manta, as well as that Lincoln's. In all honesty, another item that wouldn't go amiss on the Naga at this point in the game, an MKB. Mm-hmm. The MKB would be able to shred through the Morphling, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah,
What else could they be wanting to stall for?
they want to stall for the fact that Sqreen Squad were all grouped up in the middle lane. They didn't have to worry about their side lanes. So they're stalling for time to get equilibrium out onto the top and bottom lanes so that the Naga Siren could just split push out and then force Sqreen Squad to play the worst game they could possibly want. Sqreen is actually going to almost die to these Siren illusions, and now Slander's in quite an awkward position, stuck between literally all of the xGame side, and he's going to get cracked and shelled again at the perfect time. Necroman's going to deploy the Exorcism now. There comes Stallcat off to the side. We'll grab Hiroso once again, so the lasso is going to get full effectiveness. CXC in the middle of everything, but they're going to bring down Hiroso first, and now the illusions up to the front lines, annihilating Slander. The Tombstone at this point is not doing nearly enough, and it will very quickly be brought down. That's 2 down for Sqreen Squad, and that could be the Aegis for xGame right now, as Roshan is already very low. And yeah, they just took a fight where they also have to worry about the top lane, Sqreen Squad, and this is now probably going to be an Aegis on Mantis, if not Cheese. Either way, no, it's going to be nothing, but either way, it's going to be a nice little win for xGame, and now they can start looking to start choking Sqreen Squad out of their lanes.
Indeed, Aegis goes on to Wadafaka. He's going to just be able to initiate without much threat anymore. And who picked up the cheese? Who has the cheese? That is what I want to know. Cheese is on the Bat Rider of Stalkat, so they're going to be able to take this next fight with a lot more confidence in my mind. And off the back of that one, the biggest problem that Sqreen Squad there had was Ravage was still on cooldown. If Ravage was available then, that fight could have turned on a dime.
Such a clustered fight. That's really where Ravage shines, but you know, unfortunately, the timing's not really working out for a Sqreen Squad for whatever reason, whether it's they're too hasty or they didn't expect to fight there. Either way, now all their lanes are going to slowly starting to push in the direction of the Dire base, and Sqreen Squad, if they want to group up and make that push once again down the middle, it probably can make something happen, but they'll have to worry about the split push and the potential pressure from the side lanes at the exact same time. And really, that's what xGame wants. They want to keep Sqreen Squad from getting into that 5-man balled up lineup, and they actually took down the range Raxes up top. Not a huge win, but it finally did go down in the end.
Well, they're starting to poke and prod at the Rax of Sqreen Squad, which is exactly what they need to be doing. I mean, it's equal in terms of Rax right now, a melee for a range at the end of the day, and, well, we're just looking for that next train wreck of a fight.
And, well, it's going to start mid with Hiroso as well as Sqreen getting pretty much annihilated by a couple illusions. Sqreen Squad, they're all 5 in the middle lane, and that's exactly what xGame don't want to see right now. Mantis is going to be doing his best pushing out the bottom lane, but top lane is actually being pushed out by a stolen Naga Siren from the Morphling. That's actually a pretty huge steal from him, so Replicate doing some work up there. Sqreen Squad just going to slide up to the top lane and try to look for Raxes. Slander's going to jump right in, swap back onto Reeves, but he's going to force staff his way out. Now Hiroso is going to be the one to ultimately get initiated upon. Batrider is going to safely pull that Vengeful Spirit in, but not to do too much. They might kill off Hiroso, but the Ravage is going to fly, catch Mantis on the back end, and they're going to get Wadavaka very low. He gets swapped out, but that's only the Aegis. Raxes have already been brought down, however, and Sqreen Squad, can they get out of this safely? They take down the Raxes, and Slander looks like he's going to be the one to die, might be the only one to die. ZX against Sqreen off to the right will run away, and they can't catch up to a Death Prophet. Reeves is going to get the lift up onto the Centaur, pull him into that Stomp, and I think Sqreen might go down. However, Morphling should be fine to teleport out outside of an ensnare. Song of the Siren a little bit too late. They get 2 in exchange, and they get 3 actually. Sqreen is somehow still alive, but the Double Edge will kill him off. That's 3 in exchange for Raxes. I still think that's a pretty good exchange for Sqreen Squad if they could hold this crackback.
If they can hold it, yes, but this is something that I will point out there. What was the priority of decision for ZXC in that fight? He came into that one, what was the first thing he immediately started doing? Attacking the Rax. He's gone for objective gaming. He did the right call there. If they can do that to, say, the bottom lane, Sqreen Squad can take this game, but they're going to have to contend with this death ball coming down against them. I mean, xGame, they have the damage potential. I mean, just look at how farmed this Naga Siren is. She has a butterfly now. She got rid of the bottle. She still has 4k in the bank, and now they're going to find the Blinking, look for the attempt on Hiroso, and they will bring him down immediately. No escape of that one. But 6 seconds till the Undying is online. Tombstone's a good one to help defend this one, but as we stand, in comes Necroman. Slander is here as well. They have no Ravage still. This is a big problem, and they're now losing their Rax. The Rax is just falling, and there is no contest of this right now. Hell, even a stolen crit spawn by the Rubik, so it's going to be a very rough team fight nonetheless, but in comes Sqreen, wants to try to get that Tombstone down. Here we go. The Song of the Siren immediately stops all fighting, and I think xGame may just back up here. They have the ability to. They can just pick and take their fights now, as long as they can defend that final set of Rax.
So top lane is going to be equalized now that xGame have completed that Raxing, and Sqreen Squad took that last, although Sqreen Squad, they probably don't want to be chasing this far forward. This could very quickly turn ugly for them. They might be able to catch Reeves, so they're going to try to throw him up into the air. The range just isn't there, though, from the Yule Scepter. I don't know how far out of range it was, but it just was barely out of range. It's going to be overall, Sqreen Squad with 1.5 Raxes down. Same thing for xGame, however, their range Rax is still up in the middle lane, so slight Rax advantage for Sqreen Squad, but overall this game is really coming down to the wire. Sqreen Squad, they're very quickly running out of time. I think they are pretty much working against the clock right now. Like you would ordinarily say, the clock has already struck, and now they're just going to try to make a desperation push. They have all of their tools available. If they can get Mega Creeps, that's not going to instantly win them the game, but it'll certainly help.
Indeed it will, and here we go. Necroman's going to start the fight up with the Exorcism. They do have a Ravage in the backline, but in comes the Poison Over. But Lasso, they grab Necroman, drag him back into the main base. If they can bring down Necroman, that's going to be absolutely huge. But in the meantime, in comes a stolen Ravage from Reeves. Just an absolute turnaround. With the Fade Bolts as well, this is just too much damage. Necroman will go down, as well as the Tidehunter and the Undying. This is exactly what xGame needed to do, and they've defended. They've held their racks so far, but ZXC is still trying to do work, but cannot finish it off in time. Starcat will clean up the Morphling, and at the end of the day, only the Vengeful Spirit is still alive for Sqreen Squad. They lost the tier 3, but cleaned up the entire push. If they can now get the momentum going and maybe bring down this full set of racks on the bottom lane and this final racks in the mid lane, it could all be over for Sqreen Squad, but they do all have their buybacks.
Yes, so Sqreen Squad potentially can make some defense, however, with no Ravage and no Exorcism, they might be able to get back into this game, like with their heroes, but their heroes won't be able to do that much. Two really bad things went wrong for Sqreen Squad. One, the Vengeful Spirit was not there to swap out the Batrider or his Lasso target, so the Lasso was fully effective, and it wasn't even on Hiroso because it wasn't there, so initiation from xGame was on point. Second, the Ravage hit, I believe, max one person, might have hit 0 people. It hit the BKB Batrider, but that doesn't matter. That actually doesn't do anything, so it was a really bad Ravage from Slander, and now they're going to lose the entirety of their middle lane. The bottom lane will be held for now, but still, this game is just so delicate. Sqreen Squad, they are very quickly running out of time because Naga Siren is going to be pushing up top. She's even going to go for her 7th item. It's going to be that Refresher Orb, so she's going to be able to sing all day long if that is exactly what she wants to do. Sqreen Squad, they could pretty much sense the desperation in their movement. They're all 5 heading down towards the bottom lane. No one's up top to defend. They want to get the Mega Creeps, and it's going to be at a very steep cost because Naga Siren can completely clean out the Sqreen Squad base while that's happening.
Indeed, and well, they're going to have to send Necroman back to deal with this. I mean, the illusions are already in the base, starting to do work, but in the meantime, in comes Slander. They could look to bring down Equal here, and Equal will be the unfortunate victim of this one. There is no escape from that, and he's going to immediately buy back. They really have to be careful here. One pickoff could spell doom for xGame. Of course, the same applies on the flip side of that coin. This is a game on a knife edge.
Necroman was sent up to the top lane to deal with those illusions, and he did ultimately clean them up, but those illusions brought the Death Prophet down to about half HP. Just 3 Mantis illusions, casually doing that much damage to one of the tankiest, if not the tankiest hero on the Sqreen Squad. So, yeah, it's going to be a push down the bottom lane for xGame, and Sqreen Squad, they don't have the luxury of being able to split push or anything like that. They're going to struggle to kill off some of these Naga Siren illusions, but bottom lane is going to be the target. I could see Sqreen Squad taking a nice decisive fight right here and then potentially cracking back to tie the Rax score, but I don't really know if they have enough to defend this set of Raxes.
I'm not sure if they do either. I mean, you've got the full force of Sqreen Squad starting to bear down on the enemy base. Now we get the Lasso. They're going to go straight onto Sqreen. If they can bring down the Undying, that's going to be pretty huge. And he's not going to be able to survive it, as well as that stolen Ravage by Reeves once more. It's a godlike spree for Mantis. And this is a case of time for that final tier 3 to fall. If they can get these racks, it'll all be over but for the crying. But in comes Slander, drops the Ravage, looking to bring down Mantis. And the Stampede is not going to be enough. They do manage to bring down Naga, but she's immediately buys back. She can get back into this fight. Does she have her travels ready? Yes, she does. She's coming back in immediately off the back of this next creep wave, and it's not over yet. We're all ready to reset and go again. The tier 3 fell. Exorcism did, however, get used to defend this, and if Exorcism goes down, I don't think they're going to be able to hold this final set of racks. There's no way to stop these illusions at this point in. There's no Undying, no Vengeful Spirit. The Morphling is here, but he just doesn't have the item or the damage to bring down these illusions quick enough. I mean, the illusions alone are commit, and just look how quickly that Rax is falling. Slander comes forward, he's going to try to do what he can. He doesn't have a refresher, but on the back of the lines, Lasso, Necroman gets caught. He's getting brought back into the middle of the fight. However, in comes the Undying, looking to do what he can. The Tidehunter will buy back, and Morphling, ZXC, will get brought down by Mantis. There is no escape. He's trying to morph, but he cannot survive. And now there's only the final range rack standing, and it's still being brought down, while Mantis is just being a big damage sponge. That's going to be mega creeps. And can Sqreen Squad do anything from this point?
They'll need, at the very minimum, 80 seconds to get their Ravage back up. Song is going to let Equal teleport away. Everyone from xGame is going to survive off of this. And that was pretty much the problem of Sqreen Squad, in that the fact that they had to work off of these ultimates. They are 100% reliant on the Ravage and the Exorcism to win fights, whereas xGame have the kind of slow trickle of the Naga Siren illusions that they're really relying upon. Now with Mega Creeps, Sqreen Squad have one more chance. They have to decisively push, and if they kill off the Naga Siren, she will not have a buyback. So, Sqreen Squad, they have to pretty much just leave one person back. I don't know who that's going to be. Probably the Undying, to just make sure the base doesn't die. But the rest of the heroes, they have to group down mid and try to just go for an Alpha Strike and take the entirety of the xGame base. If they can't make that happen, then Mega Creeps pretty much alone will kill off the Sqreen Squad. Combine that with the Naga Siren illusions, and Sqreen Squad are going to completely just lose this game.
This is my one problem with that idea, though. Sqreen Squad don't really have any alpha big strike damage hero. They've not, say, got an Earthshaker. They've got a lineup that does good sustained damage over time. It's their biggest cause and effect ability. Sure, if they throw all of their spells against one hero, that hero will explode, with the exception of maybe Mantis. But if they had, say, an Earthshaker, if they had, say, something that could just land colossal AoE damage like that, I mean, OD even, Sanity's Eclipse, drop hammers like that, maybe they could Alpha Strike, but I'm not sure they can do it with their draft.
Well, and we're going to see shortly enough. xGame, they are going to be sending all the illusions in, with the Mega Creeps already helping out quite a bit. Sqreen Squad, they're not going to be able to just 5-man push the mid lane in desperation. They're going to try to make a defense. And, well, they will have a Ravage for this one. It's only going to be a single one, and at this point, I don't even know it's going to be enough. Slender's Anchor Smash is going to be, like, one of the most relevant tools in this game, but yeah, it's not going to be very easy, especially with xGame now holding the Aegis onto Wadafaka, as well as the Cheese on the Batrider. Mantis, kind of fearless in his death. If he does die, that could be pretty potentially bad for Sqreen Squad, but for xGame rather. But Sqreen Squad, but they can't push against these fast enough. Morphling doesn't have enough damage. He's working on a BKB, it looks like. Maybe if he had a Mjolnir, he would be able to do it, but that's not the case right now, and it's just xGame looking for the last play. Stallcat up into the air. Wadafaka is going to miss his stomp, and Stallcat looking for a lasso onto Feroso or someone. Not going to use it just yet. Where's the rest of xGame? They're going to throw the Ravage, going to catch off the Venomancer as well as Stallcat, but the Song going to stop everyone. Well, that means the Nightmares are actually going to walk right by and start on the tier 4. Mantis is actually going to kill off the Vengeful Spirit in the back end with just illusions. And now, xGame, now that they don't have to worry about Ravage, nor do they have to worry about the Exorcism, it's very, very quickly timing out. They could go in and just clean up this game. I think this might be over. Stallcat is going to get gone upon by Slander, forcing up into the lasso. He'll be blasted down by the Morphling, but killing off the Batrider, not really going to do enough, as Wadafaka is going to jump in and clean up the Tidehunter at the exact same time. ZXC as well as Sqreen on the run from just the Centaur. In the meantime, middle lane is being pushed. Naga Siren constantly sitting in the middle lane, deploying illusions everywhere. Wadafaka is going to lose his Aegis. Sqreen Squad making a valiant defense attempt, but I don't really know if it's going to be enough, because still all lanes are in full breach.
Indeed, I mean, the Megas are going to be so hard to stop. And just look at the burn damage coming out of that Naga. Down goes the Undying once more. Mantis on a dominating hill. They're going into the well. ZXC going to be the target, but can't be brought down quite quick enough by Wadafaka. And that's GG called by Sqreen Squad. But then again, it's a best of 3.
Yeah, Sqreen Squad, unfortunately, they do run kind of weird stuff. They probably will not do so, given the circumstances of the game, but this is the power of the Naga Siren. If you don't completely shut her down or win the game early, she will just take over, and she will probably win the game for you guys. This is game number 1 going the way of xGame. We're going to be moving on to game number 2 shortly, guys. Don't go anywhere.